Hey, welcome. Happy Monday to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy President's Day as well. I want to welcome to the program Donald Trump, President Donald Trump.
I will be.
He's stuck on this one.
Greatest president that God ever created.
Okay, let's get one more.
Look, I'm really rich.
You are, Donald. Also, welcome to the show, Matthew Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire.
I will be the greatest president. I'm really rich. Okay.
It's perfect.
You have to slap me on the head to do it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
why
not
I
gonna
would.
give you any ideas.
Okay,
All right.
okay. So I want to let's get a couple housekeeping items out of the way. Okay. Number one, I'd like to bring in the day 27 deportation tracker, which is stuck at 11,310. They have not updated the numbers yet. Thank you.
Unacceptable.
Boo this. Boo this. Okay. Now, that's not to say that they are not acquiring more deportees and booting them out of the country. Wait, hold on. Get that in the booting them out of the country. But they just have not updated the numbers yet. So trust me when I tell you we're going to keep track of that behind the scenes, and then we'll end up bringing it back to you whenever we've got an update there. Another thing, I will be gone tomorrow and Wednesday. I will be at the Capitol in Austin. The Texans for Vaccine Choice rally is tomorrow. I will be speaking at that. So those of you who are out in Austin, come hang out with us, say hi. But you know what? While I'm gone, if you'd like to go buy some merch, now's the time to do it. SaraMerch.com. We've got all sorts of stuff on there. We've got support your local ice raids. Yes, that's what it tastes better. The water tastes better when you drink it from this cup. I'm just saying. And then we've got all sorts of I Don't Really Care, Margaret. We've got that gear. We've got the MAGA is for Lovers and Maha Moms Club, along with MAGA Moms Club as well. We've got a ton of stuff over there at SaraMerch.com. So go get you some. There it is. If you want some SG merch, go get it. SaraMerch.com. So over the weekend, I want to address this because a lot of our clips right now have gone like pretty viral. And so I do want to get this out of the way. Over the weekend, I did do an expose over at Cathedral of Hope Church. Those of you who are listening in audio podcasts, I'm using the air quotes there. All right. The air quotes are coming out for this part of the show. Church in Dallas, Texas. They held a drag Sunday, a celebration of drag Sunday, where they dedicated their entire service to drag and transgender, and we'll get to that. And then they had a drag brunch fundraiser for the church. And so because these are going very viral on social media, I want to give you guys a little tease of what's to come, because I do have an episode on only my YouTube channel that is dropping exclusively on my YouTube channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time. So make sure that you are subscribed to watch. But I want to give you some of these clips here. I want to tell you, Matt, have you ever seen a drag king?
No.
So I saw one yesterday, and it was just a girl with like Sharpie marker drawn on
I was going to say,
her beard.
I'm a bit confused. The whole thing confuses me.
Yeah. No, me too. I was there and I'm still confused. So I want to play a little bit of this guest preacher talking about gender reveal parties and relating that to drag. Watch.
Perhaps drag today could be defined as that which threatens the already fragile and arbitrarily constructed framework for gender performance that is necessary to maintain power dynamics. Conversely, it could also be that from the moment we are born, and perhaps even before that, when families gather to reveal the sex organs of their child, that the drag show begins. The blue confetti falls and the pink smoke clears, and there's a mad dash to project cultural and societal expectations of gender performance onto that child.
Now, I want to also show, if that wasn't weird enough, I would like to also show the moment where the head reverend, invites the drag community that they are there to honor. They invite them to come up to the front. And I'm laughing so I don't cry here. watch the contrast of the crosses and all of this. I mean, it's a beautiful church. Like it's very pretty. All the crosses and all of the Christianity emblems, display, symbolism, and just compare that to what you're watching take place in front of the congregation. Watch.
I'm going to invite our guests, our family, to come and join me for a moment, especially the members of the Lone Star Royal Court, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and members of the Bears. If you are with us this morning, would you just come and join me up the front? And ask our clergy to come down to the front.
Just you wait, Matt. Here they are. That is a man in a pup mask getting down on all fours and walking on his hands and knees.
And they're clapping it.
Oh, they're celebrating it. And then there you can see the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence coming into view. Yeah. So,
I don't know.
it's very unsettling.
I mean, this is it's the ultimate evil. Mm-hmm. It's the ultimate evil. What they're doing is they're mocking God. They're mocking any kind of reference, like you say, to Christianity. It's just a performance to them. This isn't real. I had an incident. There was a few years ago. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence have to really
temper yourself.
Yeah, I do, because they're mocking my faith as well as a Catholic. Mm-hmm. They're mocking nuns and sisters, it was very, very. Anyway, they did a picture of the Last Supper.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember that. Don't be telling me that you just want equality. It's not about that. It's not about equality anymore. This is about mocking Christians. It's about I've said this multiple times on this show and on other shows, and I'm going to put it out there now. If you are a different denomination, please stop picking fights with other denominations who are Christian that might have 5% difference in the doctrine, and look at what you're up against here. Like, these people hate you. They're mocking you. They're mocking every Christian out there. You guys, everyone needs to come together and understand and understand what is going on, and also be united in your love for Christ. Yeah. Against this. It drives me absolutely bonkers. Anything other than that is a distraction.
Yeah. I want to play one more clip here from the drag brunch afterwards. Remember, we've got so much more to come on the video that we are dropping on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered YouTube channel at 12 Central tomorrow. But here is the drag brunch. It's just, to Matt's point, they just want equality. They just want to be allowed to do their thing. I mean, they're just like low-key threatening to kill people who voted for Donald Trump. But hey, they just want to be loved and love whoever they want, right? Watch.
By the way, if any of y'all voted for Trump, please don't tell us. No, don't tell us. Or do, and do y'all sacrifice? Do y'all do that? Did we start? He voted for Trump?
No, I said the church is safe.
Okay, because I will kill him. I went down to Austin like a year and a half ago with some other drag queens to, fist fight Greg Abbott, but he wouldn't stand up and fight me.
Joking about a man's being handicapped. So funny.
I think the easiest thing that we can do with the money that we raise is just take away those wheelchair ramps and just not let him have access to the floor.
A church fundraiser is what that was. So make sure to tune in to our Sara Gonzales Unfiltered YouTube exclusive that we are doing with Texas Scorecard tomorrow. So I want to get to this conversation about free speech and how insane the leftist mainstream media has gotten it. So you had this Munich security conference last week, and JD Vance was, brought the topic up that Europe I know you can speak to
yeah.
this. Europe has gotten very grim when it comes to the topic of free speech. Now, he was giving this speech right after there was this 60 Minutes interview, and you had German state prosecutors who were in charge of policing Germany's hate speech laws. And I want to play what they would consider to be a crime over in Germany. Watch.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
That sticks around forever.
yeah.
The prosecutors explain German law also prohibits the spread of malicious gossip, violent threats, and fake quotes.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders.
Totally freaking insane what is happening in Germany. And so I want to play J.D. Vance talking to the Conference of European Leaders and Officials and just, talking about the fact that Europe is completely almost unrecognizable from what previously used to be, our shared values, our shared beliefs. Watch.
We gather at this conference, of course, to discuss security. And normally we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values.
Now, the leftist media couldn't handle this, and it got heated again over the weekend when God bless Margaret Brennan. She tries, Matt, she tries. She's got 2 brain cells to rub together maybe, and they are working real hard, okay? And so I want to play this incredible exchange between CBS News Face the Nation anchor Margaret Brennan and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, because Margaret Brennan was gonna make a point about J.D. Vance's comments, because obviously everything that any Republican or conservative says is, of course, pro-Nazi, pro-Hitler. And listen to Margaret Brennan trying to claim that, well, actually free speech is what caused the Holocaust. Don't you remember? Watch.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were a sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history. I also think it's wrong. Again, I go back to the point of his speech. Okay, the point of his speech was basically that there is an erosion in free speech and intolerance for opposing points of view within Europe, and that's of concern because that is eroding. That's not an erosion of your military capabilities. That's not an erosion of your economic standing. That's an erosion of the actual values that bind us together in this transatlantic union that everybody talks about. And I think allies and friends and partners that have worked together now for 80 years should be able to speak frankly to one another in open forums without being offended, insulted, or upset. And And I spoke to foreign ministers from multiple countries throughout Europe. Many of them probably didn't like the speech or didn't agree with it, but they were continuing to engage with us on all sorts of issues that unite us. So again, at the end of the day, I think that people give that is a forum in which you're supposed to be inviting people to give speeches, not basically a chorus where everyone is saying the exact same thing. That's not always going to be the case when it's a collection of democracies where leaders have the right and the privilege to speak their minds in forums such as these.
Mr. Secretary, I'm told that we are out of time.
Oh, we're out of time. We're out of time. Sorry. Gotta go. Gotta go. Of course, everything that she said was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because you remember that the Nazis had an actual minister of propaganda. And they censored anything that didn't agree with the Nazi point of view. They burned books. Like, Goebbels controlled the media and the arts. They censored any information that was not Nazi aligned. Obviously, the theater, the radio, the cinema, and you want to talk about book bans. That was the time when they
burned the books. I mean, they literally burned the books.
Yes, it was the opposite of free speech. And she's like, well, actually, let's talk about how free speech caused the Holocaust.
All you've got to do with, I'm going to be kind. I'm not going to say any names. Yeah, I am. But okay, you have free speech. Free speech can lead you in multiple different directions, right? But I'll tell you what isn't going to lead you in multiple different directions. Not having free speech. So it's kind of like, you don't have free speech. You shouldn't say these things. Okay, you're already there. You're already there. Yep. Right? The free speech has to give you the option of things going one way or the other. Right. It has to. It's like free will. Yep. Right? You have to have free will to commit evil. The idea is you don't commit evil if you have free will because you choose not to. Mm-hmm. If you do not have the capacity to choose evil, then these people are idiots. But it's what's really concerning. I mean, look, there's the actual laws that are being put in place, which are bad enough. I can tell you this, that on the ground in Europe, people are self-censoring, which is worse. I think it's worse because if people are feeling...
Well, they don't want to go to jail.
Well, that's right. So you don't actually need the laws. And as we know from what happened under COVID, people were they're very quick to put your next door neighbor in jail, right? Yep. And I think that was a real big wake-up call for a lot of people. But Europe has a massive problem because they will not censor Islamic hate, like as in people, Muslims saying things that they shouldn't say. But they are, when people come out and go, hang on a second, and J.D. Vance, by the way, that was probably the greatest vice president speech in history. Yeah. It was unbelievable. And he spoke about there was an attack in Munich the day before, or even that day, I think it was. And so, but you can't say anything and say, hey, listen, we have a problem here. Boom, you're going to jail, right? But other people, because they don't offend the minorities, they can say whatever they want. So don't think that this is being uniformly applied to all the citizens. It's not. Yeah. And that's a massive, massive problem over there. And look, America really has to understand that this is the last bastion of freedom on the planet. Mm-hmm. It really is. That's not hyperbole. It's just not. Yeah. The First Amendment and the Second Amendment, well, all the other amendments in the Bill of Rights, they're so vital, and the world is actually looking to us right now, like going, please, can you help? Yeah. We're in a really, really bad place. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, you like free speech? Sounds like something a Nazi would say. Anyway, we got to take a break. We'll be back. But I want to thank our sponsor this segment, Bank on Yourself. So Bank on Yourself, I've talked, they showed me, I was like, how do you guys do this? And they showed me, and I was mystified. It's so cool. So if you have like, you've got your 401ks, you've got your IRAs, you've got your retirement plan, and, the financial experts will be like, oh, just max these out. And, then on top of that, you have to beg for permission to use your own money because you're going to get dinged on taxes and penalties and all of that if you try to take something out in case you need it. Go talk to my friends over at Bank on Yourself. It's a proven retirement plan alternative that banks and Wall Street really hope that you never hear about because it's going to give you guaranteed and predictable growth and retirement income. So your plan will not go backwards when the markets tumble because your principal and your growth are locked in, and that is tax-free retirement income. So go get a free report that explains how you can bank on yourself and enjoy tax-free retirement income, guaranteed growth, and control of your money. I'm telling you guys, it's a free report. There's no reason not to do it, and they can show you how they are able to help you bank on yourself. You can go to bankonyourself.com/unfiltered to get that free report. That is bankonyourself.com/unfiltered. Well, I have the actor here, so I figured we should talk about acting business. And SNL, Saturday Night Live, had their 50th anniversary, which, honest to God, it's incredible to me that that show still exists because there was a time it used to be funny. And now I just don't know. I'm not even kidding. I don't know a single person who watches it unless it's just a clip that has surfaced online, right? In which case, I still don't know anyone who watched the 50th anniversary, but I did see a couple clips that were resurfaced online, one of which was Tom Hanks, who came back for a reprisal of his racist MAGA supporter role from 2016. And here is some of that. Watch.
Oh, well, thank you. Hey, now speaking of church, can I say something? If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
You know what? I agree with you, Doug. I'd like to shake your hand, sir. Here we go.
No,
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's just a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You're welcome to Black Jeopardy anytime.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother. Maybe I'll start a show for you to come on, and we'll call it What Jeopardy?
No. We don't need it. We don't need it.
These people are so tone deaf. I mean, I get it. It's just a joke. Ha ha ha. All Trump supporters are racist. I know. It's just that like we've been called that for real for a very many years. And it's just kind of annoying. Like I'm just kind of over it. I'm kind of over being called a racist and a xenophobe and a transphobe. And it's just fill in the blank here. I'm just tired of it. It's just old. It's not funny anymore. And you've had 2 assassination attempts of President Trump because of the rhetoric that he represents, that he's Hitler. He is literally Hitler. Just like what we were talking about before. Anyone who associates with Donald Trump or conservatism is literally Hitler. I mean, you've gotten to a place where the violence has escalated against us. And it's just, it's just not funny to me.
It wasn't funny the first time round.
No.
It's not funny this time round. I think that what you see there is the echo chamber. I mean, I know it because I was there, right? Like I was right in the middle of it. And it's what it's shown to me, which is a little bit, it's kind of vindicating.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, conservative actors would say, hey, listen, they're canceling us. They're stopping us from getting work, that, all of a sudden the phone stops ringing and everyone's like, yeah, really? Well, yeah, it's just because you're not good enough. Like, well, actually, what about the movies we did up until the point that they figured out that we were conservative? And now you're just seeing it playing out. Like there was a time where an actor would say, I'm not going to do that because that offends half of my audience.
Yeah.
Right. And it really surprises me. And I said this online. I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about Tom Hanks. I've never heard anyone.
Well, I've heard some rumors about Tom Hanks.
I know. Look, I'm not going down that route. All I'm saying is
kids.
like, I saw him. There was the anniversary of Forrest Gump, and he turned up, and he was there with a bunch of veterans. He's done a lot for the veteran community. With again with Forrest Gump. And with, what was the other movie he did?
Band of Brothers?
Not Band of Brothers. Why can't I remember?
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Steve. Brain fart. But Me, the brain fart, not you, the brain fart. So it just puzzles me. It puzzles me why, number one, on an economic level, that's just really stupid because you want as many people coming to your movies as possible. And the majority of people that go to war movies are conservatives, right? Right. It's half of your audience. Yep. And I'm very careful when I criticize the left. I don't say Democrats because I think for the most part, there's a lot of Democrats out there that are just regular folk that they've always voted that way. This was just very, very strange. Like, why do it?
But to your point, yes, there are, I would imagine, a good handful of Democrats who just have always voted that way. A lot of whom voted our way this time around because of this garbage. And so you look at it and it's like, I understand being in their echo chamber, but it's like, guys, we just won. Like we are the majority. It's us. So who do you think that this is going to land well for? Because you look at the ratings. And let's see, December 2024, their episode drew an average 3.8 million viewers, the show's lowest number in the measurement, ages 18 to 49, the demographic. It's historical lows since November 11th, 2023. And then they fell even further, where this weekend's episode drew 739,000 viewers. Which was a disaster. I mean, that's a new low going back until 1991.
No, those are disastrous numbers. But the thing is, it's the same thing with Hollywood and the quality of the stuff it's putting out. Yeah. It's just not smart. I mean, that was not a smart piece of comedy anyway.
It hasn't.
You know what I mean? It's just, it hasn't been for a while. There's not, I mean, you know, if you go back to like chopping broccoli,
right.
It's just like really, really funny stuff, right? And now you're looking like, okay, Donald Trump supporters are racist and he won't shake the hand of the black. Okay, well, if he won't shake the hand of the black host, why is he there in the first place on Black Jeopardy? Why would he even go to it?
Right.
Like,
right.
They don't even think it through. They're not creative.
It doesn't make sense.
Very boring. So what's happened is the talent pool has just got lower and lower and lower. Mm-hmm. And if you look back, I believe that Dana Carvey, by the way, is a conservative. You look at Norm Macdonald, who's a conservative. And there used to be different elements that would raise it. You know, if you were good enough, you get in.
Right.
And now it's clearly not that way.
Yeah.
And so that it will probably be the end of the show.
You would think, though, that there would become a point in which they would say, okay, we leaned really hard into the political stuff and demonizing conservatives, and our viewership is dropping like flies. So maybe we should go back to the Dana Carveys and the Norm Macdonalds and the Rob Schneiders and the skits that were just not about that. Maybe we should go do more of that because what we're doing right now isn't working. And that's the crazy part to me, because it should be all about the bottom line, which means you can't charge advertisers as much if nobody's watching your programming. So why have they not course corrected? Not because they don't believe all of those things, but solely because the bottom line matters and they don't want to get canceled.
Well, there's a couple of things it's kind of like, how do you get famous? You get famous hopefully by being excellent at what you do.
Yeah.
So why'd you get big numbers? Because you're funny. You get big numbers because you are funny. Mm-hmm. I know that anybody watching this, I do Donald Trump things all the time and people laugh at it, right? Because we aren't so fragile that we can't laugh at ourselves or at these. If that was funny, then we'd laugh at it. If they wanted to make fun of, but also make fun of the left. And this is why Bill Maher does so well, because he will skewer the left and he will skewer the right because he's actually being intellectually honest. And you know who else does that as well? Like, one of the funniest things was Jon Stewart, right? When he was on with Colbert, where he was talking about like, a bat kissed a pangolin, you know, and everyone's like laughing at it.
Yep.
Now they just don't have the ability because they don't have the freedom to go where they need to go.
Right.
So you got to remember this. There's an ecosystem within the framework of what they're working. So you've got Lorne Michaels or whatever. I think he would let either side do whatever. He always has. But then you've got the studio and the network that's above it. So they have to, normally they have to pass their things through. Do you think that they would ever do a skit on Michelle Obama?
No.
Never. Do you think they would ever do something on Jill Biden, putting Joe Biden into a closet and then bringing him back out again? They would never do that. Now, if they did that, what would they be doing? They'd be getting both sets of people in to watch because we shouldn't be so fragile.
Right.
So they're in deep trouble.
Yeah, the shots
they're
only
in
go one
deep trouble, and they're just not funny.
Oh, oh no. I would be so sad if Saturday Night Live got canceled. How's that for acting? Not
How long? How long? Let's do about how long before they get canceled? This year? That's a low number.
I think so. With all of the other things happening in mainstream media that everyone's making cuts, I don't know how you continue doing that. So I don't know. Well, hey, my lips to God's ears, maybe. Okay. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more, but I want to thank our sponsor this segment, Jace Medical. So Jace Medical is there for those of you who remember that during COVID, the supply chain was kind of an issue because it turns out most of your medication is made in China, which is really not a good system. And I could go on about the fact that we should not be manufacturing drugs for Americans in China. But what I will say instead is supply chain issues, emergency situations. What would happen if you needed an essential medication and you couldn't get it? Okay. I would call that an emergency. And all I'm telling you is if you understand the preparedness issue, right? Like you have food preparation just in case of an emergency. You need medication preparation as well. Go over to jace.com and get you the Jace case. It's a kit of 5 essential antibiotics that you can use for emergency use. And you can customize it to fit your family's needs if you need something additional. And then right now, on top of that, they're holding giveaways all month long to make sure that you can have the right medications on hand the moment that you need them. So go to jace.com to enter their giveaway and also to purchase your own case. If you don't have one, go get one. Enter code Sara at checkout for a discount on your order. That is promo code SARA at jase.com. Well, DOGE is continuing to clean house over in DC. And I don't know if you saw this, Matt, but the housing market in DC is like, everyone's trying to move. Everyone's trying to sell and leave the area.
Oh my
look at that.
goodness me.
Look at that. Look at that. Yep. Those are all of the houses for sale. So you've got that because everyone came in 4 years ago under Joe Biden. Housing and urban development, they boosted that 12.7%. The Treasury grew 12%. Energy Department grew almost 17%. The State Department grew almost 20%. The EPA grew almost 12%. I mean, that was incredible. I say incredible growth. I don't mean that as a good thing, by the way. It's just incredible growth just in the 4 years when you're talking about the massive amount of federal workers that we already have. And so you had 275,000 federal workers who lost their jobs just last week. Now, some of whom, I know, hold on. Matt, do you need a minute? You need a moment? Okay. A moment of silence. All right. 75,000 of those people did take the buyout. So I know that you will hear a lot about, they want to go on these mainstream media programs and, I had no idea that I was going to lose my job and I'm just really scared that I can't pay my bills. You're getting paid for the next 8 months and you chose to take the buyout. So I don't really want to hear it. Now, there were 200,000 who were just let go, I'm sure deservedly so. And you've already got 10% of federal workers that's just, gone.
So many people. I mean, they talk about the deep state. No wonder they're like, we need Washington, D.C. to have statehood. Like, that's what we need. They need to be votes. Of course they did. Mm-hmm. They're on the gravy train. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. I mean, even that 20% growth That is unbelievable.
I know. Well, especially when you're talking about, I mean, you had the Biden administration that anytime, this happened under Barack Obama as well, that anytime that they wanted to tout job numbers, they just tout job numbers. But when you look at the details of how many were in the private sector and how many were in the public sector, and you can attribute so many of them to the public sector, it's like, guys, that is not growth. That's not real growth at all. That's just our money funding what they're doing. And they're just increasing it. And they want to act like that is genuine, organic growth. And it's like, that's not how this market works, guys.
He is probably the worst president in history.
I think he might be.
Seriously. I mean, what he's done, everything. I mean, the debacle in Afghanistan is enough.
Yeah.
Like that alone, his fumbles, he was just absolutely terrible. And again, everyone kind of felt it, Sarah, you know what I mean? And we were told, no, everything's fine. But we were feeling this oppression, right? Yep. We were feeling it. And I think if you look now at what DOGE is doing, it makes me laugh that they called it DOGE. I mean, it's just like every single thing that he does is just hilarious, right? He's like, I'm going to call it DOGE after the coin. And he goes and does that. But can you imagine what would have happened if Trump hadn't have got in? I mean,
no,
guys, the country would be over.
It's what we kept saying, and it was not hyperbole.
No, it wasn't at all. I mean, they were driving the country into a ditch. And now now people are like, oh, well, we can't cut enough. We can't. You guys weren't going to cut any of it. In fact, you were going to add to the deficit. You were going to keep pushing it. You wanted the debt ceiling to go up and you wanted to keep spending. More. Oh, let's send $10 billion over here and let's send $50 billion over there. It was all like, throwing money around. Mm-hmm. And now the adults are in the room. And I'll tell you this, I don't think people truly understand how bad it is, because this is not ideal for them to do. Like that, they would not ideally come into a government and start having to do this. Like they have to do it or the country is gone.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So it's bad.
But you know who else knows that? Donald Trump. I mean, all of this, I'm just going to give credit where credit is due. Maybe you're tired of me saying this. I don't really care. All of this he has handled just beautifully. It's just been instrumental. It's like an orchestra, how he has just, as soon as he was inaugurated, just boom, give me this, I'm signing this, we're getting rid of this, we're putting this back into place, we're doing this, we're doing that. I mean, he was ready because he saw the writing on the wall as well. And now you have, you know what, it's probably why whenever Stephen and I went to DC at the beginning of the year, I'm like, you can just feel it in the air. The air feels different. I mean, it was exciting. I was just like, this is a completely different vibe in this city. And, I'm sure that's because 3,951 homes that are going up for sale. All those people are going bye-bye, 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 see ya, bye, so long, move to California or New York or Oregon, not Texas, please, we're full, the inn is full, don't come here. And so I know I use this term a lot in my personal life. It might sound unprofessional, but the only way I know how to explain it is just like a total vibe shift.
Think about this. It is difficult enough to run a presidential campaign, period, right? Like, this, when we speak to other representatives, even on a local level, it's super hard, right? So imagine you've got that. You're fighting multiple different lawsuits. And at the same time, you are setting this up. Mm-hmm. This is no accident. Mm-hmm. It was planned meticulously. He knew the moment he was going to get in. So this guy was operating on at least 3 levels, right? Running a campaign, right? Yep. This has been absolutely brilliant. Yeah. It is. Well, it shows you why he's such a good realtor.
Sure.
To be honest, because he's got it like, he's like, but. And it also shows you, which we all thought anyway, how hamstrung he was the first time around.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Because he didn't know who to trust. He had been to DC, what did he say, 12, 17 times before in his life? He didn't spend any time in DC. He didn't know who to trust. He trusted the wrong people. And you know who would be the first to tell you that? Him.
Yeah.
He's already said it. He didn't know who to trust. He didn't know who to turn to. And they stabbed him in the back the entire 4 years that he was there and hamstrung him. And now he knows. There's something about 2 assassination attempts, 34 indictments, 34 felony charges, 91 indictments. You know, the list goes on. There's just something about all of that that I think just crystallizes things for you. And of course it did for him. You can just see it. All right, let's go ahead and I want to get more into what DOGE is doing when we come back. But first, I want to thank our sponsor of this segment, MD Hearing. So MD Hearing has hearing aids. I don't know if you've ever dealt with hearing aids, but they're extremely expensive. I was shocked when I heard that hearing aids typically cost like over $1,000. I was like, if my husband ever needs them, he'd rather just not listen to me yap than go buy an expensive thing that he has to put in his ear in order to hear me. So MD Hearing, actually, they have these Neo, it's very, very tiny. No one's going to see that it's there. And it's $297 a pair. That's like 90% less than clinic hearing aids. Like I said, it's very, very discreet. So no one's going to be like, hey, what's that giant thing on your ear? If you're suffering from hearing loss, it's not your fault. I understand. But these doctors who designed these, they did it because they wanted people to be able to afford this. Okay. They've sold over 2 million hearing aids. They have a 45-day risk-free trial, 100% money back guarantee. So you have nothing to lose because you're already losing your hearing. Okay. You can go to shopmdhearing.com, use promo code Sara, and you can get that pair of hearing aids for $297 plus a free extra charging case over at shopmdhearing.com, promo code Sara. So speaking of DOGE, we talked about the team looking into Social Security last week. And more details, Elon Musk has brought forth more details that if this is true, because he just has this graph and he has obviously no reason to lie about this, right? So I have no reason to not believe it. But this graph shows that there are over 25 million people over 100 years old who are receiving, I would say, questionable Social Security payouts. And I just want to go through some of these numbers here. This is crazy. So I want to start at the very bottom where there is one person who is approximately 360 years old to 369 years old. And another one gets runner up for oldest person ever, 240 to 249 years old. There's one person as well. And then you've got 1,000 people who are around 220. And then you can see it goes, big pocket at 160 years old, to 121,000. And then we've got a whole bunch of like in the millions from 100 to 150. It's in the millions. And in fact, if you total up everyone who is collecting Social Security, is actually almost 395 million people, which is very strange considering that there are only supposed to be 334 million people in the entire population of the United States.
Do you know what? Do you think, Sara, that these are Social Security numbers that illegals have got?
Maybe. Well, I don't understand a lot of it. I mean, there might be something that I'm missing, but I don't understand how almost 40 million people from the ages of 0 to 9 years old are receiving Social Security. Like that doesn't make sense to me that young people, I mean, you can keep going. 30 to 39 is 52 million. Like I don't even understand.
I mean, well, how did they not put any kind of parameters on this to check? Like, you
shouldn't even be able to enter in the database.
No, I mean, you hit a certain age, right? And they go, you've got to come in to have your eyes tested for your driving test if you're like 65 years old or whatever it is. You'd think that they would do that. I mean, the fraud and the waste is unbelievably staggering. It's like the American people have been absolutely fleeced.
Yeah.
Absolutely fleeced.
Yeah. Who is getting these?
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? To find out.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, because if you are a law-abiding citizen who do things the right way, you can start receiving your benefits, I believe, when you're 62, some of them. But there are all these weird rules anyway. Like if you delay too long, you get penalized. If you take it out too early, you get penalized. But you're supposed to take it when you hit full retirement age. So again, like any age up until that point, it shouldn't even be allowed in the system.
But what gets me is, the Democrats especially go on and on and on about, oh, they're taking away this and they're taking away that. This is it. This has been fraud for years. Like there's nothing in there, right? They've been taking this away for as long as we know. We don't know how far back this goes, do we?
Right.
But I mean, the fact that there's one person, it's kind of funny, actually. It's like 349 years old. Like someone is collecting that check and they've got the balls to take it as well. You look very good for your age, sir. Do you moisturize? I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, let's see. I'm not good at math, so I'm going to look this up. The United States has been a country for 248 years old. And somehow we have a 350-year-old who is still collecting Social Security, which, just to be clear, did not exist when the United States was founded. So that math is not mathing. I'm not a mathematician at all. You could ask Stephen. I'm very bad at math. I still can tell you with absolute certainty that math ain't mathin'.
Oh, it's very concerning to me. I mean, like genuinely, it's concerning to me because you entrust the government for so many things that are vital to your security, for your safety, and they can't even figure this out. Like this is just a very, very simple thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyone over 100 years old should probably have to have a proof that they're still breathing to get Social Security. How many millions was it? Over 100.
Oh gosh, a lot. Let's see, because over 100, you get 100, 4.7 million, 110 bracket, 3.6, 120, 3.4, 130, 3.9, 140, 3.5, 150, 1.3. These are all millions.
But to be fair, there's a big drop off at what age?
160.
You hit 169.
You're gone,
159, man. And that's it.
You're toast. You are done. You are cut off. Okay, I mean, you're still alive. You're just not getting Social Security. How about that? Huh? Huh? How about them apples? All right, before we go, I do want to, it's so stupid. I do want to just show, we were talking about all of Donald Trump's many indictments and all that. Well, Donald Trump has his mugshot right there, New York Post.
Oh, it's so great.
As you enter the Oval Office. Speaking of, how about them apples? How you like that? You just made him stronger. You just made him stronger, guys. Oh my gosh.